Hello. In this video, we're going to continue to look at some classification techniques when working with triangles. We're also going to talk about what solving a triangle is. Solving a triangle is something you'll see commonly stated when you're working through some examples, and what it simply means is to find all the angles and find all the lengths. I really do recommend you use a table for this. A table is really useful because that way you can write down what you know right away, and then based on what you know, you can make a decision as to what to do. So another way of classifying triangles, and this classification technique is actually designed more to tell you what approach to use, is using angle and side classifications. So the convention for this is to use S to represent a side and use A to represent an angle. An important thing here just to really note is classifying this way is not designed to help you memorize cases. It's just another way to think of a triangle and kind of break down what's given to you. You'll notice that in certain cases various approaches become more applicable, but the purpose of this isn't to memorize every one of these cases and say a side case is applied to this situation and so on and so forth. So let's talk about this and look at a couple examples. So a side angle classification is simply identifying what pieces of information is given to you, and it often comes in threes. So if I take a look at this triangle here, triangle ABC, you'll notice I set up a table here so that I can solve this triangle. Now we're not actually going to solve any of these because we don't at this point have the techniques to solve some of the pieces of information, but we're going to just set it up to be solved, and we'll come back and solve these later. So I have side A, side B, side C, angle A, angle B, angle C. So if I take a look, side A is going to be 5, side B is 8.06, and side C is 10. So this is said to be a side case because I'm given three sides. So we say this is a side case. Let's look at the next one. So with this one, the key thing to remember is start we don't want to start in the middle. We don't want to start what's in between two pieces of information. We want to start on the left-hand or right-hand side. So in this case, you'll see I'm given a side, an angle, and a side. So this is called a side angle side case. It's important that we label the information given in order. That does make a difference. A side angle side case is not an angle side case. Okay, and yes, I do realize that is a socially inappropriate word, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Let's delete this here. So now we have a side angle side case. So therefore, let's take a look. The side here, if this is angle A, that's side A. So side A is 4.12. This is angle C, which is 99.22 degrees. It's very important that you put the degrees symbol. If you don't put degrees, you're actually indicating a different unit of measurement called a radian, which you might not have gotten to yet, but is very different than a degree. And then we see this is angle B, so that's side B, which is 5.42. Let's come down to the next case. So if I take a look at this case, I see this is an angle case because I'm given three angles. So angle B is 40.26. Angle A is 58.25. And angle C is 81.5. And remember that degree symbol. Now interestingly here, I drew these triangles in a piece of software called GeoGebra, and you'll notice when I labeled the angle, it actually gave a Greek letter with each angle. So just, again, it's really good to get to know your Greek letters. This Greek letter is alpha. This Greek letter is beta. And this Greek letter is gamma. Gamma is sometimes drawn like that. So this looks, it's really small, but sometimes people will draw gamma like that. And what I like to say to people is that alpha looks like a fish, and we know gamma radiation kills fish, so this is my floating fish. Now in this case, I can draw a conclusion. If I'm given three angles, I can't state what the sides are. Because remember, based on similar triangles, as long as I expand these sides proportionally, the angles remain the same. So, important takeaway is important. You need one side length to solve a triangle. If you don't have one side length, or at least one side length, you can't solve the triangle. Okay? Now, it's an important thing to note here. You need one side length to solve a triangle plus some other information. Let's look at the next case. So here we have an angle, angle, side. So this is an angle, angle, side case. Or what we say, you can go this way, side, angle, angle. Doesn't matter which way you say it. So angle B is 28.9. Angle C is 107.13. Don't forget those degree symbols. And length B is 4.78. Really take a moment and make sure you see that if this is angle B directly, the opposite side is called length B. So now in this case, we have an angle side side. So up earlier I said this is a socially awkward case. Interestingly, when I started teaching, the teacher told me never to write this case like this. But what I say is you know what? This is the way it's written. It's fine. Sometimes people will write it side, side angle. I actually like calling this a socially awkward case because we'll learn a little later that angle side, side cases can have multiple solutions. And we haven't talked about what this actually means yet, but what I'm getting at is that if I give you an angle, a side, and a side for a triangle, there can actually be more than one triangle you could possibly construct with that. So angle, side, side, or side, side, angle. We see angle B is 52.25 degrees. Don't forget that degree symbol. Angle C, length C is 7.01. Angle B, length B is 5.58. And there we go. So this side angle classification is quite useful when you're working with non-right triangles and you're using two laws called sine law and cosine law, which we'll explore a little later. But what I want us to get into the habit right now is whenever we look at a triangle, we take a second and we identify what pieces of information is given to us, because in doing so it's going to make solving triangles or sometimes finding specific pieces of information much easier. I hope this video helped.